Have you ever wondered why some women seem uneasy, even scared, around men who truly understand emotions? Not just any men, but those rare few who have mastered emotional intelligence, those who can read feelings like an open book, who listen with intention, and who respond with genuine understanding. It's almost as if emotional intelligence triggers something deeper, something unexpected. What if I told you that this fear isn't random and that it's been carefully studied, even hidden away in secret guides from centuries ago? Guides written by none other than Machiavelli, the master of strategy and human behavior. Today, we're diving into the hidden layers behind why women fear emotionally intelligent men, unveiling secrets that have been locked away for hundreds of years. At first, it might sound strange. Why would anyone fear kindness, empathy, or deep emotional understanding? Aren't these the qualities that build trust and connection? But if we peel back the surface, we find that emotional intelligence is more than just warmth and care. It's power. It's the kind of power that challenges old dynamics, shakes up expectations, and exposes truths that many would rather keep buried. And when this kind of power enters a relationship, it disrupts the status quo, sometimes stirring discomfort, confusion, and yes, even fear. This story isn't about blaming anyone or painting broad strokes. It's about understanding the delicate dance between emotional intelligence and human nature, especially in intimate relationships. Throughout history, society has held certain ideas about how men and women should interact, what emotions are safe to show, and which ones to hide. Machiavelli's secret guide, often misunderstood and taken only as a manual for political cunning, actually holds profound insights into these emotional undercurrents. He understood human fears, not just of swords and crowns, but of vulnerability and emotional truth. Imagine a man who doesn't just mask his feelings or follow societal scripts, but embraces them fully. One who can navigate emotional storms calmly and with wisdom. To many women, this man represents something unfamiliar, unpredictable even, because emotional intelligence brings clarity where there was confusion and honesty where there was silence. It challenges unspoken fears and long-held insecurities. But what exactly does Machiavelli say about this? How does his centuries-old wisdom explain modern emotional dynamics? And why does this fear, often unspoken, persist in many relationships today? Could it be that emotional intelligence threatens old power structures, creating an invisible tension that both fascinates and frightens? These are questions that have puzzled thinkers for ages, and today we're going to uncover answers that have remained hidden until now. As we journey through this story, you'll meet the emotional warriors, men who have embraced emotional intelligence against all odds. You'll see how this gift can inspire growth, but also provoke fear and resistance. And you'll realize that beneath this fear lies a powerful truth about connection, control, and the human heart. So stay with me as we unravel Machiavelli's secret guide and discover why women fear emotionally intelligent men. The answers might surprise you, challenge you, and even change how you see relationships forever. But beware, once you know the truth, there's no going back to the way things were. What lies ahead is not just a story, it's a revelation. To understand why women sometimes fear emotionally intelligent men, we have to first step back and look at what emotional intelligence really means, not just in theory, but in everyday life. Emotional intelligence isn't about being soft or overly sentimental. It's about awareness. It's the ability to recognize your own feelings and those of others, to manage emotions in a way that creates understanding instead of conflict. It's the kind of skill that many men were never encouraged to develop. Instead, society often rewarded toughness, stoicism, and emotional distance. So when a man steps outside that traditional mold and shows true emotional depth, it can feel like uncharted territory, even threatening. The tension here isn't just personal, it's cultural. For centuries, men and women have been assigned roles based on expectations, fears, and survival instincts. Machiavelli understood this better than most. His secret guide wasn't just about politics or power over kingdoms. It was about power within relationships, power over hearts and minds. He observed how emotions can be tools or weapons, how fear can control behavior, and how true influence lies in understanding those invisible forces. Think about it. Emotional intelligence exposes vulnerabilities, both in ourselves and in those around us. When a man is emotionally intelligent, he can see through facades and defenses. He can sense hesitation, doubt, and fear, and that can unsettle people who aren't ready to confront their own feelings. For many women, this emotional clarity can be startling. It forces questions they might not want to answer. Who am I when no mask is needed? What do I feel beneath the surface? And most importantly, can I trust this man to hold my truth without judgment or rejection? This is where the fear begins, not of the man himself, but of what his emotional intelligence might reveal, because deep emotional connection can change everything. It can break patterns, shift power balances, and challenge deeply held beliefs. The idea of opening up completely, of being truly seen and understood, is both magnetic and terrifying. As we explore this further, keep in mind that this isn't about blaming or labeling. It's about recognizing an ancient dance between fear and desire, control and freedom, protection and risk. Machiavelli's guide teaches us that power isn't always loud and aggressive. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, and felt in the spaces between words. So what happens when emotional intelligence meets this ancient dance? What hidden tensions rise to the surface? And why does this create a mix of fascination and fear? The answers are complex, layered, and still unfolding. And that's exactly what we'll uncover next. At the heart of this story lies a conflict that few dare to talk about openly. The uneasy dance between emotional intelligence and fear. For some women, the presence of an emotionally intelligent man can feel like a mirror reflecting parts of themselves they might not be ready to face. It's not about rejecting the man, but about confronting the vulnerability that emotional honesty demands. And that's no small thing. On one side, you have men who have spent years learning to understand emotions, to communicate clearly, to create space for real connection. They've broken free from the old scripts that told them to hide feelings or be tough. For them, emotional intelligence is a strength, a way to build deeper, more meaningful relationships. But for the women they encounter, this can sometimes trigger a deep, primal fear. The fear of losing control, of being exposed, or of having to let go of defenses built over a lifetime. Meanwhile, there's a cultural layer that complicates things even more. Society often teaches women to protect their hearts, to be cautious with trust, especially in relationships. When emotional intelligence enters the picture, it doesn't just disrupt personal comfort zones, it shakes long-held beliefs about power, safety, and love. It forces a choice, to lean into vulnerability or to pull away. And that choice isn't always easy. Adding another layer, consider the silent struggle of the emotionally intelligent men themselves. They sense the tension, the hesitation, sometimes even the withdrawal. They wonder why their openness is met with resistance, why their genuine care sometimes feels like a threat. This clash creates a complicated push and pull. A relationship dynamic charged with unspoken fears and unanswered questions. The truth is, this conflict isn't black and white. It's messy, emotional, and deeply human. And it's exactly what makes this story so important, because understanding this tension might just be the key to unlocking a new way of connecting, one that honors both fear and courage. But how do we get there? That's the question we're about to explore. And the answers might surprise you. The moments before a breakthrough are always the most intense. As emotionally intelligent men step closer to offering genuine connection, the air thickens with uncertainty. The fear that once lingered quietly now pulses stronger, mixing with hope and hesitation. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff. The view is breathtaking, but the fall feels terrifying. For many women, this tension is about more than just fear of emotions. It's about the possibility of change, of letting down walls built over years, even decades. What will happen if those walls come down? Will they be met with kindness or judgment? Will their vulnerability be cherished or exploited? The emotionally intelligent men, aware of this fragile balance, tread carefully. They want to reach across the divide to show that understanding and empathy aren't threats, but bridges. Yet every step forward sometimes feels like stepping into unknown territory, where old fears clash with new desires. This unspoken battle creates moments of confusion and silence, where neither side knows what the other truly feels. The weight of unexpressed emotions fills the space, making the next move both crucial and daunting. Around this delicate tension, Machiavelli's hidden wisdom whispers, "Power isn't about force, but about influence and trust. But trust requires risk, and risk demands courage. Neither side can fully control the outcome, and that unpredictability adds to the suspense. Will this emotional dance end in connection or retreat? Will fear win, or will vulnerability open the door to something deeper? The answers remain just out of reach, hanging like a question mark in the air. As we approach the turning point, the stakes couldn't be higher. The emotional walls are trembling, and the old patterns are begging to be broken. But what happens next? The truth is coming, but it's not ready to be revealed yet. The climax waits, charged with hope, fear, and the promise of transformation. And when it arrives, everything will change. Just when it seems like the emotional walls might finally come down, something unexpected shifts the entire landscape. The very qualities that make emotionally intelligent men so magnetic, their awareness, their empathy, their ability to read between the lines, can sometimes become the source of a new kind of tension. This twist isn't about a lack of connection, but about what happens when emotional intelligence uncovers secrets that were better left hidden. The deeper the understanding, the more uncomfortable the truths that emerge. Imagine a situation where vulnerability is met not with acceptance, but with fear of change. For some women, the arrival of genuine emotional insight threatens long-standing patterns of safety, even if those patterns were built on distance or guardedness. The emotionally intelligent man, in his quest to build trust, unintentionally becomes a mirror reflecting insecurities that had been buried or ignored. Suddenly, the connection that seemed so promising begins to feel risky, almost dangerous. Meanwhile, the men themselves find that emotional intelligence is not a magic key to unlock every heart. Sometimes the clarity they offer is met with resistance, confusion, or even withdrawal. The very strength of their empathy can become a burden as they sense the fear beneath the surface but cannot easily soothe it. This creates a powerful emotional push and pull where the desire for closeness battles with the instinct to protect oneself from potential hurt. This new tension raises the stakes considerably. It's no longer just about fear of emotional honesty. It's about the fight to maintain control over one's own feelings and identity. The question shifts from, can we trust each other, to, can we trust ourselves to change? That's a much harder question to answer. The emotional landscape becomes a battleground where old fears collide with new possibilities, and neither side can predict what will happen next. As Machiavelli might have warned, true power lies not in domination, but in navigating these fragile human currents. The secrets hidden in emotional intelligence now hold a darker edge. They expose not only potential for connection, but also vulnerability to pain and rejection. The conflict escalates, pulling both men and women deeper into a complex dance where every step forward risks upheaval. And just when it feels like the tension can't get any higher, a new layer of uncertainty emerges. Something unseen yet deeply felt waits in the shadows, threatening to change everything once again. The climax is near, but the story is far from over. The question remains, will emotional intelligence heal these wounds, or will fear claim the final victory? The answer is coming, but only after we confront this unexpected twist. At the peak of this emotional storm, everything finally comes crashing together in a moment that no one sees coming. The men, those emotionally intelligent warriors, and the women, hesitant but longing for real connection, find themselves face to face with their deepest fears and the possibility of true understanding. For a long time, the tension between vulnerability and fear felt like a wall too high to climb. But in this intense moment, something shifts. It starts small, a confession, a pause, a look that holds more than words. The emotionally intelligent men stop trying to fix or control and instead simply listen. They create a space where silence isn't awkward but sacred. And the women, sensing this genuine presence, lower their guards just enough to peek behind the walls they built. It's not instant trust or perfect harmony. It's messy and fragile, but it's real. The main conflict, the fear of emotional honesty, begins to dissolve, replaced by something new, cautious hope. The women realize that the emotional intelligence they once feared isn't a threat, but an invitation. An invitation to be seen, flaws and all, without judgment. And the men discover that empathy doesn't weaken them, it strengthens their bond in ways they never imagined. This breakthrough doesn't erase past fears or pain, but it lights a path forward. Yet just as relief begins to wash over the scene, the story delivers a final twist, one that pulls the rug from under everyone's feet. The emotional clarity that brought them together also reveals a deeper truth. The fear isn't just about vulnerability or change. It's about power, but not in the way they expected. The real struggle is learning how to share that power without losing themselves or each other. Emotional intelligence, it turns out, is not a destination but a journey, full of challenges that don't disappear overnight. This revelation leaves both men and women standing at a crossroads. They have faced their fears and taken the first steps toward true connection. But now they must decide if they're ready to keep walking this path together, knowing that the future is uncertain and emotional intelligence demands courage every single day. The story closes on this moment of open-ended possibility. A reminder that fear may always linger, but so does the power to overcome it. The secret guide Machiavelli never fully revealed wasn't just about control, but about trust, vulnerability, and the surprising strength that lies within emotional honesty. And just when you think the story has ended, a quiet question lingers. If emotional intelligence can both build and break us, what happens when it meets the unexpected? The answer waits just beyond the horizon. As the dust settles from the intense journey through fear, vulnerability, and emotional truth, a clearer picture begins to emerge. The story of why women fear emotionally intelligent men isn't simply about fear itself, but about the complexity of human connection. It's about the challenge of embracing honesty in a world that often rewards hiding feelings. Emotional intelligence, as we've seen, is not a flaw or a weakness to be feared. It's a powerful tool that, when used with care, can deepen relationships beyond what many thought possible. The men who dared to embrace emotional intelligence discovered that true strength lies in openness. They learned that listening without judgment, showing empathy, and allowing space for vulnerability don't diminish their masculinity but redefine it. Likewise, the women who wrestled with their fears found that emotional honesty could bring safety rather than harm, closeness rather than distance. It's a delicate balance, a dance that requires patience and courage from both sides. This story reminds us that emotional intelligence is more than just understanding feelings. It's about trust, respect, and the willingness to face uncertainty together. Fear doesn't vanish overnight, nor does vulnerability instantly become comfortable. But with intention and empathy, those barriers can slowly come down. The ancient wisdom hinted at by Machiavelli teaches us that power isn't just about control. It's about influence through connection. What remains clear is that emotional intelligence challenges old norms and invites us to rethink how we relate to each other. It asks us to be brave enough to be seen, to hold space for others, and to accept that growth often comes from discomfort. This is the hidden guide for modern relationships, a roadmap to navigating fear and finding authentic connection. So, as we close this chapter, remember that the journey toward emotional intelligence is ongoing. It calls for openness, courage, and above all, patience. Fear may always linger at the edges, but it doesn't have to rule the story. Instead, it can become the spark that leads to deeper understanding and genuine love. Thank you for joining me in uncovering this secret. If you found this story meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights that unlock the power of connection. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and keep unlocking your own emotional intelligence.